Hello, my analysts. If you joined me from the last video, we talked about safe malware handling and how to belay the risks of inadvertent infection on your host system. But that does beg the question, where do I find malware in the first place? And the answer, it may shock you, because when I started doing research into this, I thought malware was very hard to find and I would have to plumb the depths of the dark web to be able to find samples. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case. It's going to maybe shock you how easy it is to find malware out in the open, and more importantly, find safe, reputable repositories where you can go to collect these samples without risking your host system or your data. What I want to drive home here is that you do not have to go to sketchy websites in the dark web to find these samples. They're out there at reputable websites. How about GitHub? GitHub's a pretty reputable website. So let me introduce you to the three main repositories, and one's really a compilation of other repositories that I like to use when I'm sourcing malware. Now, the first one is the Zoo, which is curated by Yitzif. Not quite sure if that's how you pronounce that, but that's okay. This is the Zoo, a live malware repository. This is on GitHub, so the site itself is reputable and safe to visit. Now, this is filled to the brim with live binaries and source code that you can analyze as well. And I do like that a lot, because you may start with analyzing just the binaries here, and there's plenty to choose from. I do believe WannaCry is in here somewhere. But once you get a handle for kind of the basics of malware analysis, maybe you start to get interested in the source code to understand how these things are built and constructed. And so the Zoo has both of those. Now, you can go out to the main page here, and there's actually a section on how to get started installing this. But suffice it to say, you can effectively just download the zip file right here, bring that onto your analyst workstation, and you will have more malware to analyze than you know what to do with. So that is the Zoo. The second place that I want to bring up is the VX Underground Malware Source Code Repository. It is, once again, on GitHub. Now, this one's very interesting because VX Underground likes to source malware from various locations. I do not recommend going to their main website. What I do recommend is going to their GitHub repository and looking through the different samples that they have here. Now, you never quite know what you're going to find here. I want to draw your attention to the leaks directory here. And if you go, you see that there was something uploaded 17 hours ago in the other. And look at that. That's the Babuk ransomware that's been, at the time of recording this video, has been a rash of ransomware attacks with that ransomware as the particular specimen. So I don't quite know where VX Underground is getting their specimens from, and I'm okay with not knowing because they put them on the GitHub repo. Again, you can do download zip and bring that onto your analyst workstation. And there are plenty of architectures here to choose from as well. Lots of this is Windows, but there are Python samples too, and Mac OS. All of these are in zip directories, again, trying to adhere to best practices of malware handling. And so the last repository that I want to bring up, which is really a compilation of multiple repositories, is at Zeltzer.com. If you don't know who Lenny Zeltzer is, he is a titan of industry. He's one of my heroes. He does a ton in the space of malware reverse engineering analysis. He's been around for a while, and he did teach this professionally as well, so he knows what he's doing. And he has put together a bunch of resources for malware researchers and analysts. And these are not specifically all databases of malware. There certainly are many of them, but there are other things that we'll actually get into later in this course, like any.run. And so there are lots of different things to play around with here. But remember, the idea is that we don't want to be going to the dark web. We don't want to be going to sketchy forums. We don't want to be sourcing these unethically or from places that, you risk your physical operating system to procure these samples. They're out here in the open on the clear web, and they are available for you to download and play around with. So for this course, however, the only required samples are going to be inside of the PMAT Labs directory here. And you see this says PMAT Labs main, but yours may just say PMAT Labs. every required binary for this course is going to be inside of that directory, provided you've downloaded it from the GitHub repository. And so that will be all you need for this course specifically. But let's say that you get through this course and you're hungry for more, and you're saying, where can I go to find more of this stuff? Well, I wanted to bring that up just to show you that you don't have to go to these sketchy websites to find this stuff. You can go right here in the comfort of your own GitHub repository, pull it down, and you can reverse engineer and analyze to your heart's content. All right, and that is the spiel about safe malware sourcing. And so let's move it on with our first section of analysis in this course, which will be basic static analysis. So meet me in that video and we'll get going.